Have you ever looked at a map and thought, what if it was upside down? I mean, literally flipped. South America at the top.
Yeah.
Well, one artist actually did just that.
Wow.
Joaquín Torres Garcia. He literally flipped the map, making a powerful statement about how we see the world.
That's pretty bold.
It is, and that's just a glimpse into the fascinating world of Torres Garcia.
Really makes you think.
Right. He wasn't just an artist, but a pioneer of Latin American modernism.
I've always found his work so captivating, full of symbols and bold colors.
Me too. So in this deep dive, we're going to explore his life and work from illustrating poems
Wow, poems.
to becoming this major figure in modern art.
I'm excited to dig in. Where are we starting?
Well, our guide for this journey is the Stuff You Missed in History Class podcast.
Oh, I love that podcast.
So let's dive in. Torres Garcia was born in Montevideo, Uruguay, back in 1874.
Oh, wow. So we're going way back.
We are. But at 17, he moved to Spain with his family.
I can't imagine moving that young.
Must have been a huge change. Now, his family, they were merchants and carpenters, very practical folks.
Yeah, down to earth kind of people.
Exactly. But Torres Garcia, he was drawn to art from a young age.
Like even with that background.
Yeah. Even though it wasn't the family trade, he had this passion for creating.
So when did he actually start pursuing art seriously?
Well, he went to art school in Barcelona, getting formal training.
Makes sense.
But here's the thing. He wasn't content with just copying what he saw, the traditional stuff.
Oh, so he was already pushing boundaries even back then.
He was. He wanted to create new worlds with his art, not just imitate reality.
I love that idea, creating new worlds.
It's so evocative of his vision, right? Yeah. So where did he go from there? Well, Barcelona was buzzing with artistic energy.
Oh, I bet. I mean, Barcelona has always been a hub for creativity.
Absolutely. And there was this place, the Four Cats Cafe.
Okay, the Four Cats. What's the story there?
It was like the place to be for artists, writers, thinkers, the whole avant-garde scene.
So like a bohemian hangout spot?
Exactly. Yeah. And guess who was hanging out there?
Okay, let me guess. Gaudi.
Gaudi, Picasso, and of course, our man Torres Garcia.
Wow. Talk about an inspiring group.
Can you imagine the conversations happening there? Just mind-blowing.
I bet. Did those conversations ever lead to any, actual collaborations?
You bet they did. Torres Garcia actually worked with Gaudi himself on the stained glass windows.
The stained glass windows.
Yes, for the Sagrada Familia.
No way. That's incredible.
Yeah. From 1903 to 1907, he was part of that legendary project.
What an amazing experience that must have been.
Right. And it's during this time that his own ideas about art started taking shape.
So he's working with Gaudi, soaking up the Barcelona art scene. What were his ideas?
Well, he was developing this theory that art shouldn't just imitate reality.
Okay, so not just like painting a bowl of fruit.
No, he wanted to go beyond that, to create something new, something meaningful.
So he was a bit of a rebel, huh?
Oh, yeah. He was challenging the conventions of the time, pushing back against the traditional academic styles.
And was he like just talking about these ideas, or was he actually putting them into practice?
Oh, he was living them. He became a successful muralist.
Muralist, so like painting on buildings and stuff.
Yep. Churches, public buildings, even private homes. He was putting his theories into action.
So he was a man of action as well as ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But his artistic journey, it didn't stop there. He kept evolving.
So where did he go next?
Well, he embraced this style called modern classicism, incorporating elements of ancient Greek art.
Modern classicism, so like a mix of old and new.
Exactly. You can see it in his murals for the Palau de la Generalitat, a government building in Barcelona.
I bet that was a controversial move, mixing ancient and modern like that.
You bet it was. Some critics thought it was a step backward, rejecting modern art.
But that sounds like Torres Garcia, always pushing boundaries.
He was. He saw it as bridging the past and the present, creating something unique.
He wasn't afraid to challenge the norms.
Not at all. And all this was happening while he was also navigating, life.
Like, what do you mean?
He met and married Manolita Pina, one of his students.
Oh, wow. And they started a family.
They did. 4 children.
That's a lot to juggle. Family, career, and all these groundbreaking ideas.
It is. But he seemed to find a balance. He was incredibly productive during this period.
So he was painting, developing theories. What else?
Well, get this. He started making wooden toys.
Wooden toys! That's unexpected.
Right. It's like you think of this modernist artist and then wooden toys.
I wonder what his toys were like.
They weren't just simple playthings. They were infused with his artistic vision.
Like how?
Simple geometric shapes, bold colors, almost foreshadowing his later work.
Wow, so even his toys were art.
In a way, yeah. But amidst all this, he was also deeply connected to the world around him.
What do you mean?
Well, his paintings from this time, they reflect the anxieties of the Spanish crisis in 1917.
Oh, so he was capturing the social and political turmoil of the time.
Exactly. He wasn't just in his own world. He was engaged with what was happening around him.
It sounds like his life was just as complex and fascinating as his art.
It was. And we're just scratching the surface. Next time, we'll delve into his time in New York.
Okay, so we're leaving Spain behind.
We are. That's where his signature style, constructivism, really starts to emerge.
I can't wait to hear about that.
Stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive.
Will do. So last time we left off with Torres Garcia heading to the Big Apple, New York City in 1920.
A big change from Barcelona. What was the American art scene like for him?
It was a whirlwind. He spent a couple of years there immersing himself in everything.
I bet. New York in the 1920s, think of all the artistic energy.
Oh, it was buzzing. He even connected with some big names like Man Ray and Marcel Duchamp.
Wow, that's impressive. So he's rubbing shoulders with the avant-garde.
He was. But
Yeah.
even though he's surrounded by all this creativity, he really struggled financially.
It's tough, especially with a family back in Europe.
It was, but, he kept going, didn't give up.
Talk about resilience.
Yeah, he had it. And even though he wasn't making much money, the experience really fueled his growing interest in modernism.
Modernism, a major turning point in art history.
Exactly. And it played a huge role in his later work, as we'll see.
So after New York, where did he go next?
Back to Barcelona. Actually, he never went back to Barcelona.
Really?
Yeah, instead he went to Italy.
Okay, Italy, another artistic hub.
It is. And get this, he founded the Aladdin Toy Company.
Hold on, a toy company? That's a curveball.
Right, from avant-garde artist to toy maker. It's fascinating.
It really shows his multifaceted personality. So
Right.
tell me more about this toy company.
Well, it shows how he blends his artistic side with his entrepreneurial side.
I see it. Always creating, always pushing boundaries.
Exactly. And his toys, they weren't just, run-of-the-mill toys.
Oh, I bet they were unique.
They were infused with his artistic sense, abstract shapes, bold colors.
Almost like mini sculptures, right?
Yeah, like little pieces of art you could play with.
His creativity just seems to overflow into everything. Was he still painting during this time?
He actually took a break from painting for a bit, focusing on his family and the toy business.
That makes sense, needing to prioritize.
Yeah. But then, a few years later, an American artist friend encouraged him to start painting again.
Sometimes we all need that little push, right?
We do. And thankfully, he listened.
So what happened when he returned to painting? Did his style change?
Oh, it did. Big time. He moved to Paris in 1926.
Paris. The city of lights, the heart of the art world.
Exactly. And he got involved with this group of artists called Circle and Square.
Circle and Square? Intriguing name. What were they all about?
They were all about this new style called constructivism.
Constructivism. Okay, now we're getting into some serious art terminology.
We are. So constructivism, it was all about using geometric shapes, clean lines.
Okay, so very structured, very different from his earlier work.
Very different. It was a departure from the more fluid, expressive styles like Impressionism.
So how did Torres Garcia make that leap? From Impressionism to this very structured style.
Well, remember how he always wanted to create new worlds?
Yeah, find that universal language in art.
Exactly. Constructivism seemed to offer him a way to do just that.
How so?
It emphasized those basic forms and structures that, he believed anyone could understand.
Regardless of their background, their culture.
Precisely. It was like a visual language that transcended borders.
Wow, I could see how that would appeal to him. So this is where his signature style really comes together.
Yes, it. He starts creating those iconic grid-based paintings that he's known for.
The ones with all the symbols and forms, like a visual encyclopedia.
Those are the ones, each section like a little window into a different world.
They're so mesmerizing you get lost in them.
They are. But just as he's hitting his stride in Paris, the world gets hit by the Great Depression.
Oh no, another setback for him.
It was a tough time for everyone, especially artists.
So how did he cope?
He tried to make it work in Madrid for a while, but eventually, in 1934, he decided to return to South America.
Back to his roots after over 40 years in Europe. What was his mission in returning to Uruguay?
It wasn't just going home, it was going back with a purpose.
What do you mean?
He wanted to bring modernism and constructivism to Latin America.
To share what he had learned, to shake things up.
Exactly. He felt European art had dominated for too long.
So he wanted to create a new artistic identity for his region.
He did. He was on a mission to champion Latin American art.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He wasn't content with just being successful himself.
Right. He wanted to lift up the whole art scene.
And he didn't just want to import European ideas, right?
No. He wanted to create something uniquely Latin American.
So a fusion of influences.
Yeah. He championed this idea of universal art, drawing inspiration from both modern movements like constructivism and ancient indigenous art forms.
Pre-Columbian art, right?
Yes. Like from the Incas, the Aztecs, he saw the connections, this shared human experience.
He was flipping the script, saying Latin America had just as much to offer as Europe.
More, even. And he did this quite literally with his America Invertida map.
The upside-down map. I've seen that. It's so striking.
Right. South America at the top, a powerful symbol of his South-centric perspective.
It's like challenging the way we see the world, literally flipping our viewpoint.
It is a visual representation of his mission.
And he didn't just create imagery, he took action
Yeah.
too, right? To nurture the next generation of artists.
Absolutely. He founded the School of the South.
Tell me about that.
He encouraged artists to draw inspiration from their local surroundings, their own heritage, to find their own voice.
He was empowering them to be original, to break free from European dominance.
Exactly. He believed art could be a powerful tool for social change and cultural identity.
It sounds like he was an inspiring teacher.
He was passionate about sharing his knowledge, giving lectures, writing about art theory.
A true advocate for Latin American art.
Absolutely. He even founded an association to promote constructivist art throughout Latin America.
Wow, he was a tireless advocate.
He was. Not just an artist, but a movement unto himself.
It's amazing how much he accomplished, all the challenges he faced, the moves, the financial struggle.
He never gave up, always pushing forward.
A true testament to his dedication. But there was a tragedy, right, in 1978?
Yes, a terrible fire at the Rio de Janeiro Museum of Modern Art.
I remember hearing about that. So much art lost.
It was devastating, a huge collection of his work destroyed.
Such a loss for the art world, irreplaceable pieces gone.
It was, but his legacy lives on.
It does. His influence is still felt today.
Absolutely. His story is a reminder of the power of perseverance.
Of challenging assumptions, of embracing the unknown.
And ultimately, of finding your own voice.
Beautifully said. What resonates with you most about Torres Garcia's story?
For me, it's his unwavering belief in the power of art to transcend borders.
To connect people across cultures.
Exactly. He dared to challenge the established order, to flip the map literally and figuratively.
To create a new vision for Latin American art.
He did. And his story makes you think, what would his art sound like if it were music?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. What do you think? It's a fun thought experiment, right? Like imagining Torres Garcia's art as music?
It is?
His early works, the impressionistic ones, all light and airy.
Yeah, lots of delicate brushstrokes.
Exactly. Wouldn't they sound like maybe a Debussy prelude, all shimmering light and color?
Woo, I like that. Delicate, fluid, like those water lily paintings.
Right. And then his later constructivist pieces, all bold lines and geometric shapes.
Yeah, much more structured.
They'd have a totally different sound, wouldn't they? More industrial, maybe even a bit mechanical.
Yeah, I can see that. Something like Stravinsky's Rate of Spring, maybe?
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
With those sharp rhythms, dissonant harmonies, like the sounds of the city.
Exactly, reflecting that urban landscape, the energy of modern life.
I can hear it now, the clanking, the bustling. So different from the impressionistic sounds.
Right, but then we have to add in those pre-Columbian influences, too.
Oh, yeah. Those ancient rhythms and instruments adding another layer.
A layer of history, of cultural depth.
Imagine ancient Andean panpipes and drums woven into this modern soundscape.
Creating this incredible fusion, a dialogue between past and present.
It's amazing how Torres Garcia blended all these elements in his art, visually and conceptually.
He was a master at finding those connections, those common threads.
Bridging those divides, showing us that seemingly different things can actually be in harmony.
And that's what makes his work so relevant today. It speaks to that human desire for connection.
For understanding, for finding meaning in a world that can feel so fragmented.
Exactly. He reminds us that we're all part of something larger.
A larger tapestry, woven together through shared experiences and cultural heritage.
And art can help us see those connections, appreciate that complexity.
It's been such a journey, this deep dive into Torres Garcia's world.
It has. Makes you think about your own journey, doesn't it?
It does. Thinking about how Torres Garcia flipped the map, found his own north, Have you ever had to do something similar?
That's a good question. I think we all have those moments, right? When we have to challenge our assumptions.
Reevaluate our priorities, maybe even take a leap of faith.
Yeah, those moments of disruption when we're pushed out of our comfort zones.
They can be scary, but often they lead to the most growth, the most self-discovery.
It's like getting a little lost to truly find yourself.
And Torres Garcia embodies that, constantly pushing himself, geographically, artistically.
Creating a legacy that continues to inspire.
His life and work are a reminder to persevere, to embrace diversity, to challenge conventions.
To believe in the transformative power of art.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Well, we've learned so much about this visionary artist.
He challenged us to see the world differently, to flip the map.
To find our own north. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity.
To learn more about Torres Garcia and about the rich tapestry of Latin American art,
Go out, explore his art, let his vision inspire you.
question your assumptions, embrace new perspectives, and find your own artistic north.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep flipping the map.